This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform helping you succeed online.
Hey everyone, so in today's camera comparison, I have arguably two of the most popular smartphones on the market right now. This is the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, and this is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And so this year, Samsung has kept the similar camera setup from last year's S25 Ultra with a 200 megapixel main sensor, although they have widened the aperture to an f/1.4 from f/1.7 last year. It keeps the dual telephoto sensors at 3 and 5x, although the 3x telephoto sensor is actually a bit smaller this year, but the 5x telephoto sensor actually also has a wider aperture at f/2.9 versus f/3.4 last year, and it has the same 50 megapixel ultra wide angle camera as well. And now the iPhone 17 Pro Max has a triple 48 megapixel fusion camera setup on the rear with a standard wide, telephoto, and ultra wide angle cameras. But the standout camera actually this year is its selfie camera, which is an open gate style camera at 18 megapixels. It can auto switch between portrait and landscape automatically, so you don't have to really rotate the phone. And since these are the top of the line phones from these manufacturers, they both support pro camera features such as RAW format for photography and log format for video, which is what you're seeing here. This allows you to color correct and color grade your footage to get the exact color and mood that you're looking for. And what I like is that Samsung has made this accessible so that it allows you to select from pre-selected LUTs directly from your phone, so you don't have to know anything about how to color grade or color correct log video in post-production software. You can do it straight from your phone, pick from a preset LUT to get a professional color that you might be looking for. And Samsung also partnered with Qualcomm to deliver a new APV codec, which they claim will give you higher quality video at lower file sizes. Okay, so with all the camera specs out of the way, all that really matters is how these cameras actually perform. How do the photos and videos actually look? So like I always do, I will show you a bunch of photos and videos in both good and low light conditions to help you decide which of these two smartphone camera systems are going to be best for your smartphone camera needs. So go ahead and take a look at all the photos and videos and let me know what you think. However, just a quick break from the video to remind you that having a personal or business website is a great way to organize and centralize your online content and activity, from news posts to blog posts to social media activity to any content that you produce like photos or videos. So if that sounds good to you, then today's sponsor, Squarespace, definitely has you covered.
Simply sign up for a free trial, then use their Blueprint AI website builder to put together your website in minutes, or select from their library of templates to get started. It's easy to pull in content from YouTube, Instagram, other social sites, and even your own photos and videos. Quickly add your social media links to quickly display them on your site as well. It's also easy to add and customize an online form for people and brands to easily reach out and contact you.
And when you're ready to publish your website, go to squarespace.com/grantlikestech for 10% off your first website or domain. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video, which helps me bring you more content like this. So let's go ahead and get back to the video. Here's a video test of the rear cameras of the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is being shot with the ultra wide angle cameras to start out on each at 4K 60 frames per second. And I am on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. This is Sand Island just outside Waikiki. And what you're looking at right now is Kaka'ako / the Ala Moana area. And so I'm just going to pan around here with these ultra wide angle cameras to give you a side-by-side view of what it looks like here on a very nice sunny day. There is some wind, so there could be some wind gusts, so it's a good test of the audio and how well it can cancel out some of that background noise as well. So let's go ahead and move into the main cameras on each. So first on the Samsung, let's get to 1X here, and same on the iPhone. So this is now the main camera on each. I'll do the same thing, I'll just pan around, give you a side-by-side view of how these main cameras look in this same setting here. And so we can go ahead and also test out the zoom. And so the Samsung has dual telephoto cameras. The first is a 3x zoom. So there you go, 3x telephoto on the Samsung. iPhone has a single telephoto 4x right there. And the other telephoto camera on the Samsung is a 5x, which is the larger of the two sensors. And we can go into a 10x zoom here on the Samsung. And we'll move into an equivalent 10x here on the iPhone. There you go. So now 10x zoom on each, and the iPhone can go to a max 24x zoom, and the Samsung should be able to go max 25x, I believe. There we go. So 25x on the Samsung, 24x on the iPhone. That's what they look like and how they compare. So pan a little bit, and we can go ahead and pull them both out here to 1x again on the Samsung and 1x here on the iPhone. And I'll just go ahead and start walking so we can test out the stabilization and show you what that looks like here side by side. So let me know what you think about the video here on the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. Hey, so we're back with the rear cameras, this time with log video enabled on each. This is being recorded at 4K 60 on the Samsung. That's the max resolution and frame rate you can shoot and log. And this is also APV codec from Samsung, which is in partnership with Qualcomm. It's supposed to give you better quality video at smaller file sizes. The iPhone is also in log video at 4K 30 frames per second, which is the max resolution and frame rate which you can shoot and log on the iPhone. And so this is the ultra wide angle cameras to start on each in the same location. So you can compare this to the auto footage that you just saw. And obviously this should be color graded by the time you're seeing this. But just want to give you a sample of what log video looks like. And you can also switch between the lenses, so I can go to the main lens on the Samsung and on the iPhone. So this is now the main cameras on each in log video format. I'll just do the same thing, just pan around this area so you can kind of see what that looks like. And we can go ahead and test just the telephoto cameras as well. So 3x there on the Samsung and 4x telephoto on the iPhone. And then we can move into a 5x here on the Samsung, if I can hit it. There we go, 5x telephoto on the Samsung. And we can go all the way up into 24x here on the iPhone. And let's go move into a max 25x there on the Samsung. So that's max zoom on each. And we can pull them both back now, 1x on the Samsung and on the iPhone. And so, yeah, this is the log video that compared to the auto footage that you just saw. So let me know what you think about the video quality here in log versus auto. Hey, so we're back with the rear cameras, this time with cinematic mode on the iPhone and portrait video on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. This is being shot at 4K 30 frames per second, which is the max resolution and frame rate with this effect. So you should be seeing this artificial background blur right now, which is fully adjustable. There's an aperture setting on the iPhone, so should be set at f/4.0. And the Samsung uses a number scale, so this is 5/7. But you can adjust the blur to be as much or less as you want. And again, there's a lot of wind out here, so this is a good test of the microphones again. But the sun is shining directly on me, so this effect has every opportunity to be performing as best as possible. But I'll just pan around so you can see what this looks like here and how the effect holds up with the changing lighting conditions, with it now more really directly on me. And if I keep panning around this way, it's going to be more off of my left. And back all the way around this way, it'll be shining more directly into the cameras, especially if I pan more down this way. And I'll just pan all the way around to where we started, and I'll just start walking so you can see what the stabilization looks like here side by side.
and how this background effect holds up with some movement. So let me know what you think about the portrait video here on the iPhone 17 Pro Max and Galaxy S26 Ultra. Alright, so here's a video test of the front-facing cameras of the Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is being shot at 4K 60 frames per second, which is the max resolution and frame rate of these front-facing cameras. And so again, I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii. This is Magic Island just outside Waikiki. And there is the view of Kaka'ako / Ala Moana over there. And so right now the sun is going to be shining more directly on me, so this is the best possible video quality and exposure you're probably going to see right now, although it is some pretty bright and intense sun. Also, it's fairly windy, so this is a good test of the microphones and how well they cancel out that background noise. Again, I'll just pan around so you can kind of see how this looks in the changing lighting condition here, and how the exposure will adjust for that changing light, which is now more off my left. And if I keep panning around, it's going to be more right behind me at this moment, and if I pan this way, it's going to be kind of pretty much right up there, shining directly into the cameras. And so I'll just pan back to where we started, and I'll just go ahead and start walking so I can show you the stabilization here and how that looks compared to side by side. So let me know what you think about the front-facing cameras on the Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. Alright, so we're back with the front-facing cameras, this time with portrait video on the S26 Ultra and cinematic video here on the iPhone. So this is the artificial background blur effect that you should be seeing right now. And they're both limited to 4K 30 frames per second in this mode. And that blur is fully adjustable, so there's an f-stop or aperture adjustment on the S26 Ultra. Actually on the iPhone, sorry, which is at f/4.0 right now. And the Samsung S26 Ultra uses more of a number scale, so it's 5 out of 7 right now. So again, that blur effect or the depth of field can be adjusted to be as high or low as you want. And so the sun is shining directly on me, so this is going to give the effect its best chance to look as good as it can, because it does need some good amount of light, and the lighting is fairly even right now, so this should be about as good as it's going to look. But I'll keep panning around here so you can see what this looks like and how this blur effect holds up with some of the changing lighting conditions. And so you can see more of downtown, Kaka'ako and Ala Moana behind me. And if I keep going around, you can see what this looks like here with the light a little more off my left, and now shining more directly into the cameras, especially if I pan down this way. And I'll just pan all the way around to where we started, and I'll just walk so I can show you the stabilization and what it looks like side by side, and as well as how this background effect holds up with some movement. So let me just know what you think about the portrait video here on the S26 Ultra and cinematic video here on the iPhone. Hey everyone, so here's a test of the rear cameras of the Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is the ultra wide angle cameras to start out on each at 4K 60 frames per second, and we are at the edge of Waikiki on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. And so again, these are ultra wide angle cameras. I'm just gonna pan around and give you a side-by-side view of how these look. And let's go into the main camera right now. So S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. So here are the main cameras. And I'll just pan around again, and so that's Kalakaua Ave. It'll take you down through the Waikiki Strip. And again, here we go, edge of Waikiki. And so let's go ahead and actually walk to test the stabilization, as well as move over to an area a little bit less light. So obviously that was a good amount of light over there. You can see how these cameras perform in a fairly typical situation. If you're kind of out and about trying to shoot something, you're gonna have some decent light. But over here, it's kind of away from the really bright lights that you saw on the street. So here is Waikiki Beach, that's walls right out there. And the iPhone's really trying to brighten up the scene a lot more, at least in the viewfinder from what I can see. And we can even test the zoom here in low light. So we've got a 3x telephoto here on the Samsung. And then we can move into the 4x telephoto here on the iPhone. And of course the Samsung also has this 5x telephoto lens, which is the larger and better sensor. And then we can go in and test some max zoom here. So on the Samsung we can go all the way up to 25x, and on the iPhone, if I could zoom in the right way, we've got a max 24x. So there's max zoom in low light, and we'll back them both out to 1x here. So there you go, just a quick 4K 60 frames per second low light test here. Let me know what you think about the footage so far. Alright, so we're back in the same scene, this time at 30 frames per second, so 4K 30. On the Samsung, it's probably looking a little bit brighter. So generally, if you shoot in low light, I recommend always shoot 30 frames per second, but I want to show you the 60 frames per second max frame rate. And here's just a quick 30 frames per second footage just to compare. So you can see it, Samsung might be brightening up. iPhone's a little more consistent as far as the lighting. And so we'll just go around all the way this way into where it was a lot brighter. So you can kind of see the full effect here. And compare against what you just saw with the 4K 60 frames per second footage earlier. So let me what you think about this 4K 30 frames per second footage compared to the previous 60 frames per second footage that you just saw. Alright, so here's a low light video test of the front facing cameras of the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is at 4K 60 frames per second, and so I'm just hand holding the devices here in front of me, so no gimbal or stabilization device. This is just what you're going to get if you're just walking about and shooting with the phones. So I'm at the edge of Waikiki right now, and I'm just going to pan around to give you an idea of what these front facing cameras look like here and some of the changing lighting conditions. But obviously there's a lot of light around me. You can see the Waikiki Strip behind me. This is the very edge of it right there. So you follow that street there, it'll take you right down the strip. But I'll just walk over here and test the stabilization so you can see what that looks like here side by side. And then I'll also move into an area where there's less light as well, so you can see how these perform with less light. And it's obviously a little bit darker here. And I'll just pan back around this way so you can see kind of more Waikiki behind me, a little bit more scenery. But let me know what you think about the front-facing camera here on the Galaxy S26 Ultra and iPhone 17 Pro Max here in some low light. Now I'm back with the front-facing cameras, this time at 30 frames per second, so 4K 30, just so you can compare it to the 4K 60 frames per second footage that you just saw. The viewfinder of Samsung makes it look a little bit brighter than the 60 frames per second footage. So again, I'm just gonna do the same thing, just pan around the same spot that I started in last time. So you can kind of compare this to the 60 frames per second footage that you just saw. And I'll pan back around this way and I'll walk again so you can see the stabilization as well as, so I'll move over to a area with less light again so you can kind of see what that looks like here. And it should probably look a little bit brighter on the Samsung than it did at 60 frames per second. So again, a lot less light. Already in the viewfinder, the Samsung is looking a little brighter than it was at 60 frames. If I pan this way, you can see the Waikiki shoreline behind me. So let me know what you think about this 4K 30 frames per second footage in some low light compared to the 60 frames per second footage that you just saw.